Hi, Paul.
G'day, James. How you doing, mate?
Uh, I'm doing better after watching that episode. That first episode, man. Wow.
Edge of your seat stuff, huh?
Yeah, it is, man. I'm speaking to Paul de Gelder. He is an Australian Navy diver. It is Shark Week, 50 years since the original Jaws came out. Paul, I got to tell you, I felt like Mike's little brother on the beach saying, Paul, Mike, get out of the water. Get out of the water. Oh, man. So, actually, we're going to be talking about how to survive a shark attack. But first, Paul, let's talk about what actually happened to you in your shark attack.
Yeah, I was attacked by a 10-foot bull shark while I was working with the Australian Navy doing a counter-terrorism job. I was what's called a clearance diver, for lack of a better word, a bomb disposal diver. And I just turned up to work one day, and it was a normal day, swimming in a place where we've worked for decades. And a bull shark turns up and started eating me. Not a lot of fun, I got to say. It hurts quite a lot. I wouldn't recommend it. But fortunately, I survived, swam back to my safety boat with one hand and one leg through a pool of my own blood. And my teammates in the safety boat rendered first aid and kept me alive until the paramedics could get me off to emergency surgery and hospital. So, pretty rough day at work. I'm not going to lie, but I survived and I got a new lease on life, a new passion for sharks, and a whole new career path. So, from the worst thing that happened came the greatest opportunity.
Well, speaking of opportunity, let's talk about how to survive a shark attack. Now, I saw this first episode. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, we really wanted to show in depth, as realistic as possible, what you can do to survive if the worst thing possible happens in the ocean. And not just that, but little tips and tricks so you can avoid coming into contact with sharks. Little things like don't wear jewelry, things that are going to glint in the ocean and look like the reflection of shark scales. You're basically wearing a shark lure. So you don't want to be wearing any jewelry that's flashy. You don't want to panic if you see a shark. You want to remain calm. I know that goes against all natural preservation instincts. You have to understand that you're a big bad predator as well. You might not feel like it, but you are, and the sharks don't know what you are. They want to protect themselves as well. So as long as you maintain eye contact, you don't create a scenario where you're acting like food, then most of the time they won't treat you like food.
Wow. Speaking of which, you wore this prosthetic arm so that shark could attack it, and actually you could get sensors in it and you could learn from it. Talk about what the science was involved with that.
Yeah, the science wasn't the main factor here. We did look at things like the bite force of the tiger sharks and of the Caribbean reef sharks as well. The main focus here was trying to show people how to stay alive, because that is really what is at the heart of most people's fear. People won't even dip their toes in the ocean out of fear of sharks. And that is I find that terribly sad, because you're missing out on one of life's great beauties and feelings, being encompassed in nature, in the ocean. It has a way of washing away all your stresses and making you feel amazing. And the fact that people won't go in because they're afraid of sharks, really, that makes me sad. So little tips and tricks about how not to attract sharks. We live in the world of information. Google, Safari, whatever you want to do, you can look up and get all the information you want about any area in the world. So if you're going to the beach, do a little Google, find out if there's been any sharks there. They're so rare to see and even rarer to be bitten by. And so I love teaching people about how incredible they are, how much they're not mindless monsters, and also how to actually go into the ocean, enjoy it, and if you see a shark, enjoy it, because most of the world won't never ever see a shark.
Paul, it's interesting you're saying all these things. What I saw was pretty graphic in nature. What do you want the audience who's actually watching this, which already started on July 20th, Sunday, so it's still Shark Week. They can still see a lot of this. What do you want the audience to take away from it for their own safety?
Well, there's so many shark shows that we're going to be showing in the week. There's going to be something for everyone. But this show specifically is about learning the tips and tricks, the medical methodologies of what you can do if you get bitten by a shark or someone you're with gets bitten by a shark. What can you do to keep them alive? From using a tourniquet, from staying calm, from what you need to do underwater to what you need to do on the boat to keep that person alive. And I like to do things by doing it realistically. I learn by doing, and I'm sure a lot of people are like me. They don't want to sit down and read a shark study about shark attacks. They want to see how do you do it. And so that's where I come in.
Yeah, I like that, Paul. We're speaking with Paul D. Gelder. It's How to Survive a Shark Attack at Shark Week on Discovery. And again, I'm still that little kid in Jaws on the beach. Michael, get out of the water. Get out of the water. Paul, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend.
No sweat, mate. Cheers. Have a good one.
You too.